Hello, Senior Stoner fans. It's the real Senior Stoner back at you for your dab of the day. Today's Monday, everybody. Well, I made my rounds to the doctors. Telemedicine is interesting, and physical medicine had to be done. Ready for what it could be? The parotid gland in the body, when it gets infected, gets very dry on this side and the inside. So what they think is I have an infected parotid gland. Leave it to me to come up with shit like this. In addition to having incredible TMJ because of my pinched nerve. It's a joke. The good news, I've been hyperventilating and all nervous about it, but the lung specialist, my breathing has 99% oxygen. The inability or the feeling of not being able to take a yawn is anxiety, and I have to find ways to arrive at less anxious situations. Let's get into the topic of the day. The topic of the day is really just what happened to me. In this situation we're in out there, what happens if you have to go to the doctor? What would you do? What would make it worth you going to a doctor? I didn't want to go. I wanted to be satisfied with telemedicine, but I felt like I had to. I literally almost passed out in the waiting room of the first doctor because my appointment was 11:15. They didn't put me in until 11:45, and I'm sitting in an empty waiting room. And the masks make you sweat. And then I'm hyperventilating more. It was just ridiculous. So why am I even talking about that? And then I went to the lung doctor, and then I had a teleconference with an ENT. Why am I talking about this? Certainly not because I want to be detailed about my medical conditions. It's because even during these times, if things are bothering you, things are wrong, you must seek out help. I actually hear or read and hear that the reason that the most people are dying from these horrible diseases out there is that A, they're poor and have no coverage, or B, they're poor and afraid to go into a hospital because they have no coverage, and C, because they're stupid. I mean this sincerely. It's all the people that are out in crowds. You should have seen the doctor's offices, how prepared they are for this. There was nobody else in the waiting room. There was very limited staff, everyone wearing masks and gloves. Of course, I had to take off mine to be examined. But then I washed myself completely with sanitizer when I got to the car, and my arms and my hands. But think about it. What if I didn't go? If a lot of this is anxiety, the way one of the doctors thinks it is, and I didn't go think about it, what would have happened? It's emulation, if you will, of that feeling like you're going to die, but you're not. What happens? What do you do when you feel like you're going to die, but you're not? I don't think there's any way not to feel anxious from it. I don't think there's any way to be calm from it naturally. I think the only way you have hope is possibly with pills or things to sedate you so you don't spike up with the worry, because that's what does it. The good news is I have something I can deal with. I'm going to get another Zithromax pack, the 5-day plan, and he says 90% sure it'll hit it out. Let's pray it does. As far as the TMJ, I'm talking softer in case you can't tell it because it hurts so much. I've got to stay at a whisper or at a very soft talking pace. But let's go further on this because the topic is so important. How many people in the audience have had doctor's appointments they couldn't go to because of this? Have been told by their doctors that their appointments are canceled. My wife has dental work she needs to get done. They've canceled her twice, and now they don't even know when they're going to let her in. How does this work in America, where basically people who are hypochondriacs are doctors all the time? What happens to these people? What happens to someone like me? I actually had to go to doctors because it's the only way I was going to get set down a little bit that I'm okay. I don't want to mix in with horribly sick people, etc. But what do? Telemedicine's fine, but they can't listen to a chest. You know what I mean? They can't give you the machinery to breathe into, to do the testing, to determine you're good on the phone. Telemedicine is wonderful for talking and looking, but not for really getting into the details. So what I think we need to approach the current environment as is going to a doctor has a place. The place is as follows. You really can't have a raging sore throat. You really can't be sneezing and coughing because that way you get other people sick. If you're like me and you have something in your own body that's not projecting, your biggest concern is how are you going to protect yourself? Well, here's a couple of tips that I've learned the hard way. Masks suck. If you wear glasses like I do, you're going to fog up like you're on a ski patrol when you begin to sweat in the winter. That's the biggest problem. And with the sweat comes anxiety, hyperventilation. It's going to happen to everybody. So be very careful with these masks that you don't think they're the cure-all for everything. They're the cure-all for the germs. But there's a negative effect of having that mask here or wherever it goes because it's just not the way people are built. You don't get the right airflow, hard to take a deep breath. This is not from me being a doctor. This is you learning from my mistakes so you don't have to make them. Think of it. I've been to too many stores over the last 3 weeks. Now I'm doing only curbside pickup. I'm even doing just drive-through for pharmacy items. It's over for right now. We're driving further. Mrs. Stone and I have to drive further, maybe even into Pennsylvania, to get a curbside delivery time for a supermarket. But I don't even want to send my daughter in anymore. It's that serious, I think. But that's the big deal aside. What's going on here in Senior Stoner, I think I have a path to hope. And once I get to improvement, I'll have a path to getting better. Right now, I have a path to hope. And you know what? That's a great thing to have. Wouldn't everyone love a path to hope? Well, what did the doctor give you? Gave me a path to hope. What do you mean? Well, he gave me the fact that I'm all right now, and I might be all right. I just got to do a few things. Got to stay calmer, and I really got to lubricate my throat on a regular basis with these candies. Constantly. Just suck the candies the rest of my life. Now, let's talk about us out there. Those of us who are in pain, horrible things. You want to know a funny thing? The gunshot that's in my back right now, today, went from about a 9 to about a 6 because I wasn't paying attention to it. That is a great example of the thing I've been talking about for such a long time, which is Maslow's model. The pain that is the worst, that you body and mind perceive as the worst, is the one you feel front. Even if you've got a broken leg, if you get shot, you're going to feel the gunshot. So for me, the worst of it's over here. And the breathing issue, not over here right now, or in my IBS. And Mrs. Stoner says to me all the time, oh, your back's hurting again. That's because you're starting to feel better over here. You see, the brain of a human being is only so strong. It's only capable of dealing with so much shit at one time. You know what I mean? You have limits. So I think the body and the mind, you can go to all these different doctors and find out all the information. The body and the mind, not the doctor, does the triage to tell you and your body and mind how to react. Example, my family doctor just poo-pooing me, telling my my blood pressure was good and my oxygen flow and that little thing they put on your finger was good, and I can't see anything down your throat. Good luck at the lung doctor. That was nothing. The lung doctor spent a lot of time with me. Wonderful. Real testing done. Real answers. And then my ENT. Professional, the best ENT in the state of New Jersey, this guy. He's right on. When I put the flash on, he said, I see what you got. Here's how we're going to treat it. So you know what? It's a combination platter, I think, in the world right now we're living in. It's a combination of the doctors and the people you trust, your network. But you have to take it out of that for a second. You have to take it back to you and see what you're able to do. Okay? The physical limitations are still here, everybody, on every one of us that have them. And what we can't do during this horrible time is do bad decisions and put ourselves at risk. Forget the virus. At risk for hurting our bodies further. At risk for saying, oh, we got to do this because of that, but we're not paying attention to what's really the core issue. Don't lose sight of your core issues, okay? These things are transient. The core issues like an IBS, like a bad back, other, God forbid, problems people have. Those are core issues. These are transient issues which move forward with the proper treatment and attitude. And I'll just close by saying I really wish I could take a dab. Instead of taking a dab, would rather even take a hit, but I'm still going to stay low. I think it's the smartest thing to do. And because my anxiety level's up, very difficult for me to have edibles right now. I know you're saying, poor senior stoner. I'm without anything right now. And it's a bitch for me. Needless to say, I've been very agitated. So this is the Real Senior Stoner, kind of hanging it out there for everybody. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for hoping for me for being well. I want you to know it means a tremendous amount to me to have you all send comments of hope and comments that say, I've helped you. That's the key for me. Saying I'm nice is one thing, but if I've helped you, boy, do I feel good. When Mrs. Stoner reads one of them, or I read one of the comments to Mrs. Stoner, and it says that your video helped me, she just looks at me and goes, wow, you're just so amazing. And I'm not so amazing, but it makes me feel so good. So in a world of bad, there's opportunities for good also. This is the Real Senior Stoner. Have a great day out there, everybody. If you have to get to doctors, do it the right way, the way I did it. Go to the ones you trust, the ones that you know. Try not to be into the situation, the randomized situation, where you don't know people. Okay? The best to everyone out there. It's a very difficult time. No News Monday. Cheers.